Okay, what you're saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you follow me on my Telegram channel. I left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. So we post a lot of different trading setups throughout the week, and you don't want to be missing out on that. So make sure you go check all of that out. Links will be in the description. But like I said, we've got another live stream. I'm going to talk you through what's happening in the charts and see if we've got any opportunities coming our way. So we'll start with AUD/USD. Now for this one, you can see we're still looking a little bit bullish here on the 4-hourly. You did see price push the upside recently, create some higher highs. Looks like it's slowly pulling back, but again, no real strong price action for us to get into the market for this one to say we could be on our way back down. You can see on the daily chart we did create some new highs with the candle we had closing on Wednesday. You can see we closed above it a little bit, and then today. Yesterday's candle we closed above it quite well as well. So if we were to see a false break, we'll see either Friday's candle or next week Monday's candle close back below this area, quite strong momentum, and then we could probably see a longer swing back to the downside. But if we do hold above this level again, we could potentially be seeing that area acting as support and price continuing to the upside, similarly like what happened with EUR/USD, which you can see that when we closed it above, price had a lot of momentum and then continued to the upside. So that could be possible with AUD/USD. But if you do see like today's candle or Monday's candle just close right back below, again we've potentially got a false breakout on our hands, and we could just see that just to take people's stop losses out and catch people on the wrong side in the market, and then we see a nice move to the downside for AUD/USD, which could be quite a nice one, since we're all the way back at the highs. You could be seeing price pull back quite further down to the downside. We could take advantage of that on the low time frames of the 4-hourly and the hourly. But again, like I said, price action is not really there for me as of yet with AUD/USD. So I'm going to wait on the sidelines for that one, so you can get a better opportunity to get into any shorts for that one. USD/CAD for this one, we've been seeing a move to the downside, and price has been continuing quite well. But again, we do have this channel going through the market here on the 4H time frame. Looking at the wicks, we did see price break through it actually yesterday with that big bearish candle that we had to the downside there. Again, price was struggling to really break to the upper trend line here, and then we see price just break through it again on the lower trend line there. So again, we are still looking quite bearish for USD/CAD. We've definitely created some new lows there in the market. As you can see, we had our wick all the way down here, and then price has closed below that area, and then we've seen price maintain that bearishness. So again, if we were to see some strong bullish candles come back into the market and see today's candle close back above the area of support and our resistance, or maybe Monday's candle close above the area, then of course we can get potentially a false breakout there and see price give us a really nice swing to the upside. But as of yet, we are looking bearish. You can see with the price action on the daily chart and on the 4-hourly as well. We saw that big bearish candle come into the market, and from then on we're looking quite bearish. So again, not really interested to sell the market at the lows here. Probably wanted to sell it a lot further, lot higher up. So again, probably going to be sitting on the sidelines for this one until we start to see a strong bullish price action come back into the market, saying that potentially could be having a false breakout and could see price go a lot further to the upside. So that is probably what I'm looking for USD/CAD. But again, I'm not going to jump the gun in too early with the price action we have now, and let price develop a little bit more and become a little bit bullish. GBP/USD, we saw push the upside recently. As you can see, I was in a short trade a few days back, and I was looking for a move to the downside. You can see price found some support here. You can see previous resistance for us along here, now turned support, and then price held at the level and found the momentum it needed to continue and make those higher highs. So again, GBP/USD is still looking bullish with the 10 a.m. close. We could start seeing some strong bearish candles coming back into the market, but that's the only way we're going to short this one. As you can see with the daily time frame, we are looking bullish as well. We are back at the highs that we previously made late August, as you can see here. If I draw a line at that wick there, you can see we did try and break through that wick with yesterday's daily candle. And you see we were trading above it at some point, but then you see by the end of the day we pulled back and closed below. So that is a sign that price is struggling to break through that area. But again, you need to start seeing some strong price action come back into the market. before we anticipate that, because again the momentum is still to the upside on the daily chart. So if that was to continue, you could easily see a break of that resistance and the uptrend could continue. So again, not really wanting to buy into that. You've got resistance, really strong resistance there in the market. Wouldn't want to be buying into that. We could see the market reverse at any point really to the downside. So again, only interested in the selling opportunities, but as of yet, I'm not going to jump the gun with GPUSD. Wait for a bit more bearish price action come in. You can see with the 10 a.m. close there on the hourly chart, we wicked all the way down. Price was looking quite bearish at one point, and then by the end of the 10 a.m. close, we pull all the way back, and prices start to look a lot more bullish now. So again, we need to see some strong candles come back into the market after that. But with that 10 a.m. close, the momentum has definitely shifted to the bulls again, and probably if unless we see some strong bearish price action come back in, can probably expect it to go further to the upside. Euro USD, like I was saying before, we saw a really nice break of the daily level. As you can see there, the wick there was the highs. And then a few days ago we closed above it, and from then on we're looking bullish. So again, price action is still pushed to the upside in the higher time frames. You can see on the weekly chart, we're looking very bullish on the weekly chart, and we are going to close the candles today because it's Friday. So again, unless price pulls all the way back up, which is quite unlikely, but if price does go like that, that is could be a significant move on the weekly chart. Obviously, unless we see next week's candle come all the way back down and close back below that resistance, then we could potentially just having a big false breakout. But from a weekly point of view, we're looking very bullish, and daily as well. But we didn't get a retest of that previous resistance, now 10 support. We just saw price close above and just continue to the upside. So again, there's still downside potential because price needs to kind of relieve itself, come back, test the support, and then continue if it wants to continue that bullish trend. So again, we can look to take advantage of that as we get that pullback on the lower time frames of that hourly and hourly. Take advantage of that pullback, potentially go and test that previous resistance, now turn support, then potentially either see price break below it or continue off it and continue in this upwards trend. So looking to take advantage of that. Not really wanting to buy at the highs there where we are now, but again, the price action isn't there for us to look for any shorts. So again, we'll be keeping an eye out for a lot of the USD pairs, and then when we start to see those reversal signs come back into the market, it could be a nice place to look to short it, and we could get some nice downwards potential for USD, ADUSD, GPUSD, a lot of USD pairs. So again, we'll be keeping an eye on that. USD/JPY, again, not the cleanest pair here. We're coming back to some previous lows that we had in the daily time frame. As you can see here, previous support, had a nice push to the upside, now we're back at that same area again. So again, it might just be testing some previous support in order to continue to the upside. That could be the case. But again, you can see the market's quite up and down, quite choppy, not as clear as the other USD pairs, and USD and Japanese yen move quite similar. So you can see that's why we're having all these up and down movements, not real clear direction, but we still have that bearish trend line in the markets, as you can see, keeping us in a weak downtrend, as you can see in the daily chart. Initial test there, second, third, fourth. So again, like I said, we probably due a fifth test of that trend line. You can see we're struggling to make lower lows with the vaccine news here, and then price has been failing to push lower to go and test where the vaccine news came in that support area, and is struggling to create lower lows. So again, that is an indication that we could be on our way back up for USD/JPY to go and at least test the trend line maybe, or the previous resistance that we keep failing at, and then potentially if we see price go and break through those areas, again we'll potentially be seeing that weak downtrend starting to end, and potentially a longer move back to the upside to go and test the 200 average on the daily chart, which is not too far away. I mean, we still got a lot of resistance levels price can go and test as well. So again, not really interested in the selling opportunities, more the buys. But again, not too sure about the price action USD/JPY. So again, probably going to sit in the sidelines for that one. USD/CHF. This one we recently saw a big move to the downside. As you can see, we're actually creating some lower lows, similar to Euro USD, but on the flip side. So you can see that we had some really nice support there. Big push upside on the daily chart, big push upside that bullish candle, and then from there we just rolled over to the downside, breaking through that support, and now we're creating some lower lows in the market. So the bearish trend is still continuing for the higher time frames like the weekly and the daily. to the downside, but again we could be seeing another push back up if we do hold at some certain areas here, because as you can see we broke through that area of support and we didn't see any pullbacks again. So again we could be taking advantage of the pullbacks on low time frames to go and test that area at least, and then potentially see price continue back to the downside or hold and continue high. So again could be looking to take advantage of that, but then we are selling at some new lows here, so again you have to be careful, because if we look left on the weekly chart and expand it a little bit, actually if I go to the monthly, you can see there's no real level that we're kind of playing with here. So we're kind of just in a bit of open space. So again, it's not real like you got support and then you come back to that same support and you're looking to buy from there. We're kind of just in a like open space. So again, price does have a lot of room to move to the downside from the monthly time frame here if that trend was to continue. But of course, you can see we're definitely not overextended to the downside on the weekly and the daily chart. So you do expect price to kind of spring back up to the upside soon. But again, you just have to be aware of that, because since we cleared that support area, we're kind of just in that open space. So if you do see price reverse and close back above that support area, then we're probably seeing a false breakout, and again then we could probably see a nice long move to the upside, potentially going testing 200 moving average maybe on the daily chart, or maybe even further than that. So just going to keep that in mind. But again, price action isn't there for us to buy back into it yet, so going to let price become a lot bullish first before we start to see any buying opportunities. But again, as long as that remains bearish, we can keep going a lot further from the higher time frames like the monthly as well, if that was to come into play. Next we're going to take a look at ADJPY. Now for ADJPY, we did see price break some new highs recently. As you can see, we have been having a bullish trend on the weekly chart to the upside now. Price has been pushing higher as well on the daily chart. We did see a really nice key level break not too long ago, a few days ago now. As you can see here, a really nice key level on the daily chart. So again, you've got previous resistance along here, resistance again there, acting as support when we broke above it, now acting as resistance, acting as resistance and acting as resistance again. And we saw price break above it properly with that bullish candle on Wednesday, and now it could be coming up to retest to continue higher. That is still a possibility, as this area of resistance is now being turned area of support. So if price does close back below it, again potentially false breakout that key level, then we can start to see that longer swing back to the downside. But if we do hold and we start to get bullish price action there, we could be on our way back up. So again, if you're looking to short the market, just be aware of this level, because it will be acting as some previous daily support. So again, potentially could hold off that and continue higher. But if you do see price break below it, again we could be a longer move back to the downside and potentially see price coming back to the lows that we made previously down here, or even at the lows down there for ADJPY. ADNZD is looking quite bullish now on the daily chart, and on the weekly you can see we're pulling back up. You can see we were at some previous resistance on the weekly chart, some really nice resistance actually. As you can see, at a big swing to the downside, and this level was acting as a resistance for us. We were holding nicely, and we saw that big bearish candle drop from that same level, and now it looks like we kind of tested it this week. We saw the wick to the downside, price was trading below it, but then by the end of the week we're now pulling back up and trading back above it. So again, if Fridays, if this week was to close like that, again that could be a really nice sign that price is starting to lose momentum to the downside after this bearish trend here, and we could start to see another swing back to the upside from a weekly point of view. And again, daily as well, we had that engulfing candle 3 days ago. So again, price is starting to shift from the bears to the bulls for this one, and potentially could see this go a lot further. We do have a little bit of a trend line in the markets here. If we look at the highs there, again we didn't quite get a test of that previous high there, but again potentially could be seeing a move to contest that trend line, or again maybe the 200 moving average on the daily chart as well. So again, do have a lot of upside potential for ADNZD unless we start to see some strong bearish candles come back into the market. Going to be expecting that to continue. Next we'll take a look at NZD/USD. Now NZD/USD is starting to look bearish now, so potentially could be seeing price continue there. I'm not sure if we've broken out of kind of looks like we could be breaking out of that channel for NZD/USD. As you can see, we've got this trend line in the market, keeping us in that uptrend. And we also got the upper trend line as well. So we kind of had a channel for us on NZD/USD and NZD/CAD as well, and you can see we're kind of just trending along that, but the current candle is look like it's trying to break through this channel, which could be a sign that NZD/USD could be on its way back down on the higher time frames like the daily and the weekly as well, which again we're probably wanting to see that pull back to the downside, and looks like it could be starting to happen on the 4-hourly time frame as well if you do get a close below that area of support. So potentially could be seeing NZD/USD starting to give us that drop to the downside. If you do see a nice break of that area, you can see not too long ago we did have a wick all the way up to the highs there, price pulled all the way back in. So again, testing that upper trend line for another time, and then we've seen price starting to roll over back to the downside. So if you do see a break of that, again NZD/USD could be on its way back down. And again, like I said, we do have some nice targets for NZD/USD. We got this previous area of resistance on the daily chart here, where we had that double top essentially, and then we didn't get any pullback to that area. So the price was to give us a really nice drop. Again, potentially could be seeing price come back all the way to this level here in the market. And again, if I was to measure that in pips, we've got around 260 pips for price to move to the downside. So again, could be a really nice move in the daily chart for NZD/USD to the lows there, and NZD/CAD as well, which is a current trade that I'm actually in. But again, expecting to NZD/CAD and NZD/USD to move similarly with their move to the downside. On the 4-hourly chart, you can see we did have the channel as well. As you can see, if I connect the lows of price here. So again, we did have a nice channel for NZD/CAD as well, which I was looking at this trade as well yesterday during the live stream, and we were kind of trading at the lower trend line there. And I said if we do see a nice push to the upside and then price come back down again, we could see a break of that channel. And you see the candle that I entered, which is this candle here, the big bearish candle with the wick to the upside. You can see price was looking quite bullish at one point, creating some new highs, then pulled all the way back down, then closed bearish and closed below our channel there. So again, that could be a sign that we could be breaking out the channel now and seeing that move to the downside. So that's one of the reasons why I entered the trade. And you can see we are pushed to the downside, and we have definitely broken out that channel, and we are looking bearish now on the 4-hourly and on the daily as well, starting to look bearish there as well. So if that momentum continues, we could be on a lot further way to the downside. You can see on the daily chart we have previous resistance at this area in the market, so resistance pushed the downside back up again, broke above it, didn't retest it, just continued high with that breakout. So again, at least expecting a move to that level there around 0.899, so 0.9 would say, around that level. And then potentially if price was to continue, again we've got some areas below it, previous resistance there. Again, we had a breakout of that level and no retest of that level as well. So potentially could be seeing price coming to go test that level, which is further down. So do you have some nice downside targets for NZD/CAD, which is the current short trade I'm in now. And potentially could be seeing that go a lot further if the momentum continues. And you can see in the 4-hourly the momentum is still there to the downside. So if that continues nicely, again we could be a lot longer move to the downside. And similarly with NZD/USD as well, again, which probably has a lot further to move as well. So if you do see a break of that channel, again NZD/USD could be on its way down as well, and could start to see that NZD weakness that we've been expecting for the past couple of weeks now. So going to be seeing how that trade moves during this live stream, and keep you guys updated. If anyone wants me to look at any different charts, any different pairs, just put it in the live chat, and I'll make sure I'll get back to you and give you some analysis on that pair, or give you my opinions. But like I said, just going to be seeing how other pairs get on as well, some of the USD pairs, and we'll be mainly focusing on my NZD/CAD trade and seeing that how that gets along. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at GPJPY, see what's going on with that pair. Okay, so GPJPY we had on the 4-hourly kind of moving quite choppy, as you can see there, quite up and down. The daily chart works on top of some resistance. As you can see, clearly got some resistance there with all those wicks. We've been seeing some uptrend on GPJPY on the higher time frames like the daily and the weekly. You can see with this trend line here, looking at the lows of price, I move that up. We've got initial test there, second there, third there. So again, we are in the uptrend, so price is moving to the upside here, but we're probably expecting price to start to make another test of this trend line here. As you can see, we've had 3 prior tests, probably expecting a 4th after this big push to the upside we had a couple of weeks ago now, and then we're kind of just stuck at breaking that resistance there. So kind of trapped between that trend line and that resistance. So it depends which one breaks first is probably which way we're probably going to go. So if you do see a break of this trend line here on the 4-hourly chart, if I connect the lows of price, we can be seeing probably a test of that daily trend line that I was just talking about if you do see a break of that trend line. But if you do see price break through that resistance, then probably can go a lot higher, maybe go and test some new highs, since we do have an uptrend on the daily time frame. Potentially got the highs all the way up there, which we previously tested, and there we had that big drop to the downside. So price could still want to move a little bit higher to go and test those highs before we see a longer swing back to the downside to go and test that daily trend line. But from a 4-hourly perspective, not really interested in the buys at this moment in time, but some strong level of resistance on the daily chart and looking for a swing to the downside. And if you do get some nice breaks of that trend line, again, we could be in for a move a lot lower to the downside, at least to go and test this prior support area where we initially had a push to the upside from, and where we start trending above this trend line. So at least a test to that area in the market there, and if we break through that, again, then on the daily chart, probably go and get a nice test of that trend line that I'm talking about. That's keeping us in that uptrend. So this one here. So again, initial test there, second, third, could be in for a 4th test of this trend line if you do go and break away through that trend line, keeping us in that little bit of an uptrend on the 4-hourly. So we're kind of stuck between the resistance and the trend line there. So if we start to see some strong reversals coming back in, so GPJPY, some strong reversal price action, again, we could be on our way back down to at least the 138.39 mark, and then if we break through that, we could be on our way to go and test the trend line down there. But if we do remain bullish and break through that resistance, again, like I said, on the daily time frame, we could be looking to go and test the highs that we previously made all the way at the end of August there, where we saw that big drop to the downside. So again, still aware of both sides GPJPY can move in, but probably more biased towards the downside for this pair, and expecting a swing to the downside on the low charts like the 4-hourly and the hourly. So again, looking for that price action. Price is struggling to break through that 4-hourly resistance that we got above us there. So again, we could be seeing a break of that trend line and seeing a longer swing back to the downside. So I hope that analysis helped on GPJPY. Yeah, I'll look at GPNZD as well. Okay, so GPNZD. Okay, this one, the 4-hourly, we are looking quite bullish for this one now. As you can see, we're starting to create some higher highs and some higher lows. We've got some previous resistance for us there on the 4-hourly chart that we initially had there, keeping us in that downtrend. We had that big bearish candle to the downside, retested the lows that we previously made, and from then we just found some bullish momentum, creating some new highs and some new lows, broke through that resistance, and now we look like we are trending to the upside on the 4-hourly. And the daily as well, we had an engulfing candle with yesterday's close on Thursday, and from then we've been looking bullish as well. So like I said, we did see a break of the lows on the daily trend line, daily support area, sorry. We did see a break of the lows of the daily support, and I said that we don't have that much bearish momentum to the downside. Normally when you see a breakout, when you see a lot of momentum and price really pulling away from that area it broke out from, like Euro USD that we're having now, and USDCHF, but you can see we did break to the downside, but there's not much bearish momentum there. We had a small body candle there, a wick side to side, and we had a doji and another bearish candle, so the momentum wasn't really there, and we're probably expecting a false breakout rather than price continuing to the downside for GPNZD. And you can see we are currently bullish on the daily chart as well. So if we do get a close above this level around 1.9083, we could be seeing price continue to the outside for GPNZD on the daily chart if we do get a Friday close above that And again, we do have this trend line running for the market. Looking at the previous highs of price there, so again, initial test there, second there, we could be on our way for a third test of that trend line there. And if we break through that again, we can go a lot further and probably start see more of a reversal on the higher time frames for GPNZD. But bias is definitely to the upside for this one. Again, daily chart is looking quite bullish. Friday's looking quite bullish as well. So maybe if we were to get a pullback, you can look to get back into the market. I wouldn't really want to buy the market here. We are above that support area, but again, from a daily point of view, you can still see the end of this day's candle pullback and close back below that resistance area. Then we won't have a false breakout yet. So again, probably wait for price to pull back further and then look to get back into the market rather than buying it here. But for GPNZD, bias is to the upside for this one on the 4-hourly and on the hourly as well. But again, wanting to see those pullbacks before getting back into the market for this one. But from the hard time frames, expecting GPNZD to continue to the upside, to go and test that trend line that we have on the daily chart at least. So I hope that analysis helped on GPNZD and GPJPY as well. Okay, so it's just gone 12:30, so I'm going to be looking to end the live stream shortly. We're going to do a quick rundown on some of the charts I looked at 10 a.m. and see how they've got on. So first we'll start with AUD USD. So for this one, we're still looking a little bit bullish. We did see some price pull down a little bit. Again, we do have some previous areas of daily resistance now turn support, as you can see on the daily chart there. We got resistance there at late August. We had a nice push to the downside, and we're back at those same highs again. Price is now trading above it, so we need to see price close back below to give us that false breakout, and we can start seeing that move to the downside on the daily chart. However, on the daily chart, you can see today's candle has tested that same level of support now, and it's starting to pull back up a little bit, and you can see that a little bit better on the 4-hourly chart as well. So you can see we are pulling back up a little bit. Of course, we've still got an hour and a half before that 4H candle closes, but again, the price action isn't really there to short the market, and if we do get price remain above that area of daily support now and hold, and we start to see that bullish momentum come back in again, we could probably see another move to the upside like Euro USD. But again, if you do see that bearish price action come back in on the lower charts, the 4-hourly and onto the daily chart, we could be seeing a false breakout there on the longer swing to the downside. But again, it's quite hard to gauge whether or not we're going to get that false breakout, or we're going to see price continue. You see a bit more development there. So again, keep an eye out for AUD/USD, but as of yet, no trade there for us. USD CAD still looking bearish. You can see we had that move to the downside. We broke out our channel as well. We're creating some new lows on the daily chart as well. So you can see we are looking very bearish from the higher time frames and in the lower time frames as well. So looking for any long opportunities right now in USD CAD. It's probably not the best idea because there isn't any really. Again, don't want to be selling at the lows there. But again, if we do remain bearish, it can continue. There's nothing saying it can't. But again, if you do start to see some strong bullish candles come back in, we could be on our way for maybe a false breakout and see price continue higher. But with that strong close, momentum is to the downside. And again, if we start to see that bearishness continue for the rest of the week today and start of the week next week, USD CAD could easily continue to the downside, and that bearish trend on the daily and the weekly could continue to the downside. So you need to be aware of that, so don't want to be jumping the gun too early with any buys. GPUSD still climbing up higher. We did see price come and test the highs that we did all the way at 1.348, so at those highs there previously at the end of August. We're back at those same highs on the daily chart. On 4-hourly, we did see that bullish 10 a.m. close, that wick to the downside. Can we zoom in there? So that 4 a.m. that H4 10 a.m. close, we did see a wick to the downside. Price was looking bearish. Then just before the end, we saw price pull the way back up and close bullish. So again, momentum is still to the upside on the 4-hourly chart. So again, there's no real opportunity for us to sell the market there. And similarly with the daily is still bullish, as you can see. So again, like USD, like USD CAD, like UCCHF, if you do see price break above that area of resistance, potentially could be having a false breakout. But again, if the bullishness does continue, we could go a lot higher with these pairs, because I believe from the weekly and from the monthly time frames, it does look like we could be on our way to the upside. As you can see in the monthly there, we found support all the way down at 1.2, so kind of price is struggling to break that for the past 4 years now, and it looks like we could be getting a reversal to the upside from a monthly point of view. So we could be seeing the break of that level that we're currently trading at on the daily and the weekly this month, and see price continue to the upside. So it could be looking like that's what's wanting to happen. But again, from the lower time frames, we could be seeing a swing to the downside first before we get that, and we can still take advantage of that. But again, the price action isn't really there. Price is still looking bullish, and we need to start seeing some stronger bearish candles coming back into the market. But so far, no opportunity for us. Again, not really looking for any buys because we're at that previous daily resistance and now resistance again. So probably not the best place to buy the market, but even not the best place or not the best time to sell the market, because we're still looking bullish on the 4-hourly and the daily chart. Euro USD is still looking bullish. You can see we cleared those highs there, and price is still moving to the upside. Again, no pullback as well, so we could be due a pullback to go and test that area of support now. Then potentially see price continue pull back. But again, 4-hourly, no price action there for us, still looking bullish. And if price is still bullish, price could easily continue much higher. So I won't be trying to jump the gun with that one. I'll wait for price to give us more bearish signals there, then potentially look to short the market to that previous area with daily resistance, now support. But as of yet, there's no opportunities for us. USDJ for me, this one's just moving sideways really. Again, we do have that bearish trend line on the daily chart keeping us in that slight bearish trend, but again, no real clear opportunities here. We're back at these lows here, so potentially could be seeing another swing to the upside since we'll be struggling to break those highs. But again, just moving sideways. We were back at this area here around the 20th November. We went up again, didn't quite make it, back test those highs, now back down again. So again, it's just a lot of sideways movement, not a lot of direction there. So potentially could be seeing another swing back to the upside, go and test the highs again, and maybe the trend line. And if that happens again, we could be in for a longer move to the upside. But as of yet, no real opportunity for us on USDJPY. And USDCHF still looking very bearish, as you can see with the current candle. Of course, that's still got about an hour and 20 minutes to close, but if it does close like that, we are looking very bearish for USDCHF, and potentially could see price continue to the downside there. You can see on the daily we did clear those lows here, and from then we'll be looking very bearish. Again, potentially could see a retest, the price coming a little bit bullish, retesting the area of resistance now, retesting the area of support and now resistance, then continue in this downtrend if it wants to. So look, again, we could look to take advantage of that move back up again. But again, the price action isn't there for us. We're still looking bearish, and of course if price remains bearish, price can continue for however long it wants to continue. So again, won't we jump in the gun with these pairs breaking out? Want to give them time to start becoming bearish or bullish again, then look for the opportunity. So again, if it remains bearish, can see price continue on, but we could be due a test of that previous resistance, now turn support again. So we'll be on the lookout for that. My current trade ends the CAD in a short trade for that one on the 4-hourly time frame, entered on that candle there, which is was at 6 p.m. or 2 p.m. yesterday, and then we had a nice entry there. Price broke out of our channel and expecting another move to the downside. Again, you do have previous daily resistance there and previous daily resistance here as well, so looking to get a test of either that level or that level as well. So again, if price does have some good momentum on the daily chart and the 4-hourly, we'll probably try and hold the trade a little bit further or take a little bit less profit too, so we can reach those highs, those lows down there. But again, the momentum seems to be to the downside quite nicely. Had a lot of consecutive bear candles, so it could be due a pullback soon. But again, expecting the momentum to still continue to the downside on the 4-hourly for this one. And it looks like it's shaping up nicely on the daily as well. So looking to hold this trade throughout the weekend. I'll probably be holding it on Monday as well. So I'll be talking about this trade again on Monday. So make sure you join me for the live stream then on Monday, 10 a.m. But that is the end of the live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it and found it useful. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video. That's all appreciated. If you haven't already, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. I left a link to that in the description. So we post a lot of different trading setups throughout the week, and you don't want to be missing out on that. So make sure you go check that out. But like I said, it is the end of the live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a like on the video. Thank you so much for joining us. And until the next one, I'll see you later.